Growing Up in the Harlem Renaissance, a short story by Arne Ankrum. As a young boy, Charles grew up in a delightful time in Harlem, when a golden age, so to speak, was at an all-time high, the Harlem Renaissance. This was a period of artistic excellence for the Black community. Charles's family was one of the hundreds of thousands of families that had migrated up from the South to Harlem when sharecropping had turned sour due to natural disasters. As a child, Charles was always delighted by music and things of artistic nature, always curious when looking at the colorful paint in the various pictures his older brother Randall made. Throughout his adolescence, he wanted to be a multifaceted artist who could act, sing, and dance, as well as create physical art. Growing up in the Harlem Renaissance was the fuel for that burning passion to do so. His favorite artists consisted of the rather well-known Billie Holiday and Duke Ellington.
Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the.
He enjoyed the somber timbre of Billie's voice as she sang Strange Fruit, and when he grew older, he would come to appreciate the true meaning of the fruit Billie was speaking of. The fruit being the hanging bodies of Black people who were lynched and left to hang from trees. This was during the Jim Crow era and the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement, so at this time, artists would use their forms of art to express themselves. He wished to be able to get on the stage and sing with such emotion that she conjured and bring to life a story using harmonic sounds like her. Although he loved Billie Holiday, whenever he wanted to get in a good mood or celebrate, he'd put on Duke Ellington's It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing and dance the night away with his family.
Don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is swing.
Makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just give that rhythm every little thing you've got.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
Creating fast and fluid movements with his body, with his brother hoisting him over his shoulder, recreating the moves the Lindy Hop dancers in the clubs did. Lindy Hop was a popular dance that fused together the Charleston, jazz, and breakaway.
I didn't do. You're nobody's fashion plate, that you do agree. You know I like my fashion plate, so why don't you let me be? No, no, baby, definitely no, 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 I can't go for you.
Charles always swore he'd be a professional dancer on top of being a singer because he loved the way they moved with such energy and could tell such a happy story with their bodies.
Now.
Charles always swore he'd be a professional dancer on top of being a singer because he loved the way they moved with such energy and could tell such a happy story with their bodies. When Charles became a teen, he started to enjoy going to view motion pictures with his friends on the weekends. This was a regular activity he would save up to do. His favorite movie to watch was Cabin in the Sky, starring Ethel Waters, because she was stunning to him in the scene where she confronts her husband and his mistress.
Evening, Riff Raff. Hello, Jim Henry. Thought I'd just drop around and give you a joint the once over.
What? Petunia! Is this really you?
Mm-hmm, but not the same me who used to break her back busting suds over a tub for you.
Why, you're beautiful, Petunia.
Oh, save that sugar-coated talk for your girlfriend.
Where'd you get the clothes?
Don't you worry about that, Pops. The main point is you paying for them.
Of course I'll pay for them. I didn't realize.
And that ain't all I'm collecting before I'm through.
Don't talk like that, Petunia. You know I still love you.
Now, you just be a little more careful what you say to your wife in front of me.
However, one night he and his friends had managed to get tickets to see the movie Showboat, starring Paul Robeson, and his dream for becoming a famous swing dancer was met with another passion, acting. He was in awe of the performance he had seen.
Why, that's my favorite song.
My man is shiftless and good for nothing, too. He's my man just the same. He's never near me when there's work to do.
He's never around you when there's working to do.
The chimney's smoking, the roof is leaking in, but he don't seem to care. He can be happy with just a sip of gin.
Why you all talking about gin?
I even loves him when his kisses got gin.
Although he wanted to be a master of all art forms, at that moment he wanted nothing more to be like Paul Robeson on that big screen. His dreams would soon come to an end when the Great Depression began and stopped the Renaissance in its tracks. However, this would not yet stop his love for the arts. With money now being at the forefront of his mind because he was now at the appropriate age to get a formal job, he began working at one of his local factories to try and at least pull his weight at home. Charles had struggled for years with the loss of the artistic boom, and as time moved on, the fiery passion he had to be an artist had diminished into a bitterness of what he knew he would never become. He sat with anguish weighing heavy on his heart, and even stopped viewing art of all forms. When he would come home, he'd sit in silence, and not a song from any artist could bring a tap to his foot. But one day, on his way home from work, his coworker Joe invited him up to a bar and they talked. They talked about work, they talked about the depression, they talked about their losses. Charles told Joe about his childhood dream to have been a master of all arts. But unfortunately, like a lot of people, his dream was stolen away from him because instead of focusing on creating art, he instead had to make money to keep his and his family's head above water. Joe sat in sheer shock because not once had Charles even mentioned that he liked music, let alone all of the art forms. As the night began to come to an end, Charles told Joe he had to bring him to a place that would make him happy. Charles obliged because he had nowhere else to be, and as they walked down the desolate streets of Harlem, Charles recognized the building that was their destination, an old art museum that he hadn't frequented in quite some time. As they got in, he saw paintings and pictures of sculptures, but two had really caught his eye. The first painting made by Jacob Lawrence entitled This is Harlem, which had a bright and abstract rendition of his hometown. It reminded him that his town hadn't lost art at all, and people could still find beauty in the times after the Depression. The second piece of art made his heart flutter in his chest. It was Augusta Savage's sculpture called Gammon. This was a sculpture of a little black boy that reminded him of himself at that age. He was hit with a barrage of memories of what it was like back then, so young and full of hope. It almost brought tears to his eyes to remember his dreams, and that it might be over now, but his love for beautiful creations wasn't. They stayed there for a while and looked at all the wonderful paintings and sculptures and relished at the good times. When Charles got home, he went into the attic where he kept all of his old records and the record player and put on his favorite song, It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And he danced. He danced like he used to with his brother doing all of the Lindy Hop moves. He danced and danced and danced, and even sang too. He danced and sang all night to remember his childhood, the good times, and most importantly, his dreams. With that, his love for the arts was reborn.